Hello, everybody. Welcome to the qualifiers, the wildcard qualifiers here for the Unified Collegiate Championship. My name is Brian Schubert. Reese Hambrick joins me in the broadcast booth, my friend. This is the second day of the wildcard qualifiers, and honestly, I'm excited to see what's going to be on the table because it's UNCC versus UTSA.
Yeah, this match really has quite a couple interesting components with the way that it plays out. Both of these rosters have really been kind of on the fringe of what we call, the power, top 10 teams basically that are looking to improve, kind of put their name on out there. Recently, UNCC, Niners Esports have been pretty consistent in R6CC and Face It as a whole. They've been proving to a lot of different people that they have a very adaptive playstyle, that they can come into different maps, different scenarios, and they will try to upset things here tonight. On the other side of the field, you've got a UTSA who has had a really strong performance recently in the Community League Collegiate R6, making it all the way to the semifinals until they eventually lost to the champions of Stage 3 in Akron Esports. But looking at this match tonight, Chief, we have an interesting quirk for the first time in our circuit. The new 9-map pool comes to play.
Again, brand new maps, 3 of them being added, 1 being taken away. So the legacy map of Coastline has been jettisoned. A new legacy map, I guess you want to call it, Theme Park, makes its second return, followed by Skyscraper and Border. My friend, the map bans, though, they currently do not have any of those maps. We're going to Bank, Villa, and Cafe. The Roadrunners elected to ban those 3 brand new maps.
Yeah, and I wonder what that says about UTSA. Are they not too comfortable? Have they not maybe been able to scrim as much on the new map, so they're going to keep them away? Maybe they're going to try to work on them later down the line, right? If the possibility arises that they will make it into the Unified Collegiate Championship with its 16 teams, with its single elimination, and with its $20,000 prize pool. But talking about the tournament that we're in, Chief, the wild card event here, it's single elimination. It's 16 teams as well. You lose, you go home. We already do have one team that has gone home. It's Tulsa, who unfortunately had to forfeit their game against the University of Illinois Chicago.
Reese, let's meet the teams that are going to have their toes underneath the fire. We're going to start off today with University of Northern Carolina, Charlotte, UNCC. Let's meet their roster. It's going to be Rogue, Kyle Pog1, Yeti, TB, and Link.
Yeah, Rogue and Kyle Pog form just a fearsome entry duo. Rogue likes to do rogue things, and on the other side, on the UTSA side, they have something similar that we will get into. But I would watch out for Kyle Pog because he is kind of a crazy player. As we look at the Roadrunners, though, it's that name on the very top of the list that you have to watch out for. Ton is such a fearsome player.
And if you've ever tuned into a single collegiate broadcast, doesn't matter which league you're watching, Tun's name seems to always come up, my friend. A standout gunner, and there's definitely somebody that we're going to see a lot of flashy kills, and sometimes he might be able to make that San Antonio roster maybe one-dimensional, maybe lopsided, because we've seen them just pop off and change the course of a game. But no speculation, my friend. Let's dive into map number 1, Bank. Let's go.
We're here for to see which team will move on. We'll get to the next round. And for the playoffs, things are really starting to heat up. There have been so many rosters caught kind of on the fringe of this tournament. But let's get into the map. Let's take a look at how things will play on the map of Bank, where you can really get kind of a fearsome roam presence. You get Ton maybe hiding off in some sort of a corner here. You're not going to have a lot of luck clearing him. And I would look to the operator bans. We always get to talk about this, Brian, the Jackal ban, because he's just such a crutch operator to clear that roam.
Now, again, I hate banning Jackal. I think you can make a very strong argument, though, that Jackal bans are probably pretty useful here on Bank, because how do you play Bank? You run pretty much a defense across all 3 floors. If you're downstairs in the basement, if you don't have a defender in CEO, the middle floor, simply the attackers are going to take map control instantaneously. Those hatches are going to be popped open, and that's why we've been seeing players like IMAT elect to run the Oryx, an odd roamer, because the ability to jump up through the hatches and flank a position of the map that the offense had already cleared.
Well, it's mostly hard breach orientations here in the operator veto. We'll see what the last one will be. I'm predicting probably Mira or Valkyrie. So let's see what Texas San Antonio do decide to eliminate. Here we go. It's the Mira. Things are pretty as expected. The Jackal is allowed to slip through, which is kind of the one quirk about this. But given that you've got the Jackal, the Spaniard, on one side for the offense here, the defense also have something in their toolbox that could assist with a possible roam strategy, that being the Valkyrie. Having those black eye cameras in certain positions can really give you a lot of extra confidence to play into your roam, and UTSA will probably show that to us here as they're headed first to lockers and CCTV.
Well, good news. Nobody had to hear our terrible joke about, oh no, I've never seen a Thatcher banned in my life. Thatcher's left unbanned, but Cade was banned. Why would you need to ban a Cade? You have a Thatcher. If Cade's a problem, you throw an EMP downrange, and magically the electricity of the Cade Claw is nullified. Like, you didn't need the Cade ban. I mean, you've been better off banning something else. Or maybe we've been spoiled by the WSU Tech broadcast, the victor of NJCAA, who will be also playing in the Unified Collegiate Championship, I think, later this week. And they've been banning nothing but Capcan. So maybe we've been tainted with their bans lately.
Yeah, it's certainly kind of a strange situation those junior college teams have going in the operator ban sometimes. But UNCC are going to bring in a couple interesting components, namely the Zero and the Lion. Having the ability to send out all of those Argus SAM-cams from Yeti is going to provide such an easy job of cutting down on the roam, one that UTSA don't really look to be kind of playing too much around. They had Strident lurking around bottom square, but other than that, and a player moving up from the main stairwell, I don't think you should really expect there to be too much of a roaming presence. And you see Messiah over by the elevator hallway right now. For those of you that don't know, Messiah is Ton. So if you hear us calling out Ton, that's who you should know about.
I wonder if Zero is forced based on the attacker bans. You have Maverick banned, you have Hibana banned, and you need 2 hard breachers. So you can, in theory, bring Selma charges if you're downstairs, but that means you can only open 1 hatch compared to 2. So, and you do need a flank watch here on Bank. So why not have your flank watch be also a secondary hard breach? You talked about the power of the SAM cams, but what about the power of those pocket thermites able to open up 2 different hatches?
Well, things are going swimmingly so far for UNCC. They have secured control of the top and are looking to transition that down to the first. A couple of UTSA members are kind of testing things here on the fringe, with one notably on that main stairwell, kind of just hanging out, maybe seeing if there will be an opportunity. But this shouldn't be too tough of a thing for UNCC. They know that they've got this blue shield that they'll need to clear, and they've got all the right tools to get it done. Then transitioning to the hard breach is your only other component.
Vertical established, looking towards blue, and Angel's very much aware of that. And the first shots exchanged here in today's series of Unified Collegiate Championship. But nobody's really going to walk away from that too disgruntled after that. And honestly, UNCC might need to start to expedite this attack. Sure, you've been able to open up the server hatch, but Angel's still lurking in blue. They still have 2 toxic canisters, and #1 priority for the University at Charlotte is to be able to push in. And, Rogue certainly does that, but they don't see Angel prone to the smoke. And while they're still trying to eat up members of Charlotte with that shotgun, and it's not going well at all right now for University at Charlotte.
Yeah, things are really starting to slow down, and the defense have still this presence of the shotgun waiting in the top of the blue stairs. Where are the grenades? Where are the other pieces of utility to try to clear this player out? Because this is a major hurdle that they should have cleared long ago. The fact that shotgun is still tearing up the top of the stairs. Angel comes in for 3 and a flawless round to start the series, all from a shotgun in a single stairwell. That is a terribly bad omen for UNCC to kick off with.
Very linear attack, Reese, and the strengths of Bank is a team's ability to keep the defense on their toes. If you have multiple hard breachers, which UNCC did, you had the ability to open up the open hatches, the server hatches, the red hatches. Really, Bank is your oyster, and UNCC said, nope, we've cleared out the map, we're pushing the server hatch, and that's it. Even when they found strong resistance from that Mossberg shotgun, on the stairs, they didn't deviate away at all from their attack, and it eventually became UNCC's bane, their demise, because they're just far too linear. They're far too stuck in their way. Moving forward, they have to be more dynamic on their attack. They have to be willing to experiment and push different hatches, because if you go straight into the UTSA defense like that, well, they're just going to chew you up and spit you out with that shotgun.
And a point that I'd just like to quickly throw in here, even though the Roadrunners have elected to ban out all of those other new maps, the main one I'm thinking of here being Theme Park, sometimes you can kind of draw a couple connections between the way that things play on theme and the way that things are here on the map of Bank. A lot of times you're going to get the same thing from the attackers. You're going to get a very linear pathway that's kind of defined by one or two different perspectives. And the way that you're going to win on Bank, the way that you can kind of trump the defenders is by playing more dynamically, as you mentioned there. And that's going to be a key idea for UNCC to hold on to. They're going to need that dynamic pressure, pushing multiple different areas at once, making sure that you're guaranteeing those refrags come in at the right time, and never having your entries move in behind the drones, or excuse me, move in beyond the drones, or move in ahead of their utility.
Here's a drone game being established by UNCC, but I don't see the entries following those drones at all, so the information that those drones work so hard to gather, well, it's going to be kind of all for naught, because when the attackers actually go in for their push, the information will change. UTSA might be in a new cubby, a new hiding hole. They may have fallen back in through janitors, a lot of positions for them to be in. We talked about the attacker information, but UTSA has their own information. They brought out Valkyrie, and they're providing just too much information for Ton or Messiah to find two opening kills like that. UNCC, an awkward attack, but at least you have Stride and DB a node from the window repel.
UNCC just holding out on a couple of these different positions, waiting to see if maybe an opportunity will manifest itself. You're going to have Goat quickly make a rotate, go on through, and get his teammate back into the fray here. Ton still holding fearsomely from elbow, not allowing any UNCC members to even relatively get set up in this top square area. The fact that both of these attacks from North Carolina Charlotte have seen this terribly slow start and have just gotten caught up, not allowed to really set down, is going to become quite a fearsome issue. You let this continue to propagate, Bank is going to be a hard one, and it will be a long, excruciating first half.
Still trying to establish map control. 2/3 of the round have been expended. Rogue's going to find one of the first kills for UNCC on this map. Be careful of the pog mats, my friend. Rogue just vaults straight into it. DB node by the mat. Ton or Messiah's quad. They might be able to go for the ace. They know exactly where the final player of UNCC is repelled on the north window. And there's the ace confirmed for Messiah. An impactful round from them, always being in the line of fire. It's exactly what you expect out of Ton.
Yeah, and there's a reason why he was the main player I highlighted during our roster review segment there. He is undoubtedly one of the best entry fraggers to ever play in Collegiate Rainbow Six Siege. There is no argument that you can make that he isn't, a top 5 player, for instance. Ton is just crazy. He's gifted mechanically, and he's gifted in the game sense department as well. He knows how he can play that. He knew, for example, in the top of square there, with the changes that came during kind of the Bank rework, you can no longer just sit up on that skylight and watch that elbow rotation. Ton continued to step out, constantly threatening, peeking that square door, and the offense couldn't eliminate him.
Going over to the tertiary bomb site, downstairs and open. This can be kind of a rough bomb site for some defending teams, but I actually prefer it over the sister site next door. That's going to be Teller's Archives for one particular reason. Vertical play is almost absent and open except from stock trading. Wow. Can we just absorb this for a second? Let this percolate in our minds? Have you seen this? This is brilliant.
I have not seen this. I didn't know you could do this.
I gotta try this. This is awesome. So basically what's happening right now, in the Teller's portion, it is elevated frost bats because A, nobody is going to see that. B, are going to be forced vaults, so you can't shoot them if you don't see them already. And then you kind of go DBNO in the middle of the open, and hopefully a member of UTSA is able to find that kill instantly. That is odd, and that is a true treat.
Yeah, usually you're sort of worried about falling onto the Frostbats, not falling into them in the way that they've got them set up here. And I will watch this eagerly to see if a UNCC member is going to step into it. Got kind of a bird's eye view on that
Can't
welcome
even
mat
see them.
setup.
Look, you can
So
barely
they're
see
so
them.
sneaky. Either way here, it's Tun, again, who will lead the charge. Messiah opens up onto Link. That's your thermite gone. And UNCC get a hold of this opening kill department. Yet he will try, and he does. Gets rid of Angel, quickly creeping up here with support from Kyle Pog. It's a top floor pressure scenario currently erupting in round 3.
Good map control for UNCC. Reese's has been absent in their 2 previous rounds. Another kill for UNCC. And the opening kill of Tun is starting to go by the wayside. Because you now have UNC's vertical, they can start to kind of remodel it any way that they like. But as we were talking about earlier, open area doesn't really have the standard vertical that you'd expect. Only one portion of that bomb site is available to vertical. And while the defenders have expanded in Taylor's archives, which is quite common, they can just retreat pretty quickly in through the office back into the bomb site proper.
There's that vertical game you were mentioning earlier, and it's punctuated by a kill against Kyle Pog. One of those EE1Ds to be able to kind of clamp down on that roaming pressure in the potential for an execute. And those frost mats will start to become a bit of an issue. Yeti looking for the contestation. He doesn't even see the mats yet, and still, Rogue is literally staring right at them, so close up in the face here. They're going to send the Gone 6 out, quickly open up that door. Matcha down for the count, and Rogue somehow finds the one way he can jump over this ledge without stepping into the mat. There's only 50 seconds to go.
UNCC knocking on the bomb site door right now, and Goat, the last one left. They're going to have a miracle, or they have to hope that their frostmats actually do something. Stuck and open with their back against the wall is not a comfortable position to be in. At least you have Valkyrie cameras providing information, so Goat could time his engagements if they so choose. And Rogue swings, the diffuser falls, but Yeti's immediately onto the scenario, and they find the final player. Well done to UNCC to address the problems they had earlier. They established their map control, and they had a perfect execute as a result.
And they're going to need just a little bit more like that, and things should be fairly easy sailing. The way that they started out the round was a little rough. You know, they did lose Link, they lost the Therm, but after that, the response, the way that those 4 players cleared out the top floor was really good. I mean, that is the way that you need to show us more of. Play like that, work together, be really close-knit, holding those crossfires, moving in as a unit. North Carolina Charlotte able to spiritedly clear out that top floor, and the Roadrunners had no opportunity to hold out. No opportunity, realistically, to gain any advantages or value on that top floor. They had to give it up. Sometimes losing that top control, losing your roam pressure as well over by that Teller's Archive side is enough to just lose open area outright.
Last time that we saw this bomb site, it was UNCC going for just a push of the server hatch, and they just got eviscerated. They got smoked in the process. Reese, it's now critical that UNCC expands their offense. The word that we used was dynamic. They need to take map control. They need to open up more of those hatches. And just looking at the lineup, I don't know if we're actually going to be seeing that. Capital is being removed in favor of a Ying, which to me says this is going to be hyper-aggressive. I think UNCC is going to go for another linear push, and instead they're just going to try to push Angel away. They're going to try to use those Candelas as kind of this fast entry, and they're going to try to overwhelm the stairwell.
And that might be the right call here. Just get more utility to kind of pound down on that blue extension. You do have a little bit of an early roam coming here from Tun as he's hunting for the drone. Don't think he will be able to get it in time. Kyle Pog quickly putting in the window pressure. UNCC, another note about that previous round. The first time they've been able to trade back and deny any further advantages coming off of that opening kill. Not really just a bank thing, kind of a siege general talking point. Keeping in control of the trade game is important for longevity, especially here in the best of 3.
UNCC, top floor map control. Excellent that they have this, because now they can pretty much do what they choose. Rogue tried to, I think, place a flat place charge, and they forgot that Ying doesn't have flat place charges, so one of the critical smoke grenades lost. They only brought out 1 set, so it's going to be a single grenade left. And, oh, look who's challenging early again. It's Tun Messiah. Finds the first kill. Reese, surprised that they've done that now 3 rounds in a row.
Yeah, just consecutive punishment coming out of the Jaeger. He loses some health. He'll rotate back. He'll play with the rest of the squad here. But the worrying thing is UNCC are still kind of, you can say, moving a bit slow. They've got ADSs. They've got WMI magnets. So where is that utility to come in and start to match it? It should be just on the horizon here. But Angel's waiting with that shotgun. We already know what this M590 can do. Only a single corner and a test of the reaction time as the Sophia continues to stare on. And the utility is still moving rather slowly. It should be on the way relatively soon here. They've managed to pop open the hatch to potentially cut down that rotation. Flashbangs in first, then to be followed by the lifeline concussions. The shield is gone, and so the smoke player drops down to the prone. The gas canister still does go, and the blockade is here, and Angel just waiting. A Candela in, and that should easily be the death of Angel. That Ying counterpick working great for the blue pressure.
But Rogue took a lot of damage, not only close quarters from the shotgun, as well as inhaling that toxic gas grenade, so you have to be very mindful of the gunfights that they take. They can only take about 2 bullets worth of damage, but UNCC has already pretty much established their control. They found multiple kills throughout this endeavor, and they're in a position to potentially go for a plant with so much time left on the clock. Another exothermic charge to work with. You can open the solo reinforced wall, go for a plant, or you can have the sledgehammer open at the one that's already open with the head level holes. The exothermic charge is going to go there. You could have swung the sledgehammer there, but UNCC seems like they'd rather just hunt for blood and stride in the last one alive, and they're not going to be long for this world at all as Ryan finds his third, or Rogue finds his third kill.
Rogue just going on a bit of a tear there, walking, blitzing in through the bomb site, clearing all the defenders. The Candelas a little too overpowering, and you look at that round, and it does kind of show you something about the cost of utility. When you've got all those ADSs and magnets stacked up inside blue, sure, it accomplishes a specific objective. You want to hold that staircase for as long as possible. On the other side, though, Brian, it also does kind of leave your red position a little vulnerable when those Candelas start to fly through the air. You just got no remaining catcher denial, and you've got flashes going on. You've got grenades, explosions, gunfire. It's really just quite a chaotic situation that erupts. And for UNCC to be in the 4 versus 2 at that point, it's not realistic to expect UTSA to come out on top of that. But the Niners, after a slow start here on Bank, have quickly recuperated with 2 in a row.
And UNCC looks like a completely different roster than starting off in those first 2 round losses. They are punishing the aggressive plays of Messiah. Even though they got the opening kill, they retreated back to their bomb site. It was UNCC coming together with team utility. And I hope to see that again, because they're going to most certainly have to do that. You see the head level holes open at top square. How do you bypass that other than just putting your forehead in that spot? Well, you're going to have to maybe breaching charge where Angel's reinforcing. It requires a lot of synergy. You can even put a smoke grenade there if you had it.
Yeah, you know, you got all the different pieces of utility to try to dedicate towards that. On the other side, Thatcher comes in here for Rogue, an operator we didn't really touch on. The operator vetoes for the attack was just all hard breaches, removing the range capability of your Hib, but also removing the ability for your Maverick to kind of dance around the topic of the Kate Electro Claws and getting hatches open as well. So now that Rogue is on the EMP wielding Brit, not only can he use those EMPs to potentially clear any mute or bandit charges that would be in this round. That's not the modus operandi for UTSA. Their utility is more stacked up and actively challenging the offense. And things like ADSs, things like the WMI magnets, and maybe even a couple of the Prismas from your alibi as well. EMP grenades could be helpful in clearing some of that util, at least temporarily.
And there's another way to clear utility. Why not just shoot them in the back? Did you notice 2 hard breachers in play? Yeti has brought out the ace. I think Yeti is going to be repelling on the west-facing windows, and Decanto, there it is. Why clear utility when you can just shoot the player in the back with a deployable shield? A brilliant use of your ranged hard breaching, and now you essentially established a flank watch where the defenders can no longer go through the marble hallway. If they want to push through there, they're going to essentially have to try to challenge in from open, or you might be able to find 2 free kills like that. That also could work too.
You know, sometimes you just need to do that. Just get in, get some action, and what a comparatively opposite round to what we've had in the previous 2 here. UTSA lead the charge in every single engagement, and it's only left up to the hard breaching duo. Link tries to swing the corner, terrible timing there, and the confidence of Ton is something that you unfortunately just can't really predict. Leaves Yeti in the 1-on-5, and this will probably be a tactical timeout for the Niners. Never mind, Yeti is going to go ahead and Batman rappel down the hatch as he looks for the player in Kanto.
Ah, yes, the good old skylight rappel. Every so often, maybe once every 10 years, we see somebody actually die to a player skylight rappelling, but this is probably the most dangerous thing to do in Rainbow Six Siege. There's a few places that have skylight rappels. Villa has it, the new map, Emerald Plains has it, so sometimes you can get away with a cheeky play, but not when there's Valkyrie cameras pinging you. Uh-oh, Goat is gonna suffer the demise, the upside down rappel, and here goes Yeti, just drop it on down. His kills are gonna be purely in vain if he finds it, and he won't, but that was a treat to see.
Okay, well, kind of a strange round, all things considered there. UNCC had the plot for the bottom floor objective, corrected some mistakes that they made on the initial round of this bank game, but going up to the top floor, still proving to be a little difficult. I think it does have something to do with the repetitiveness of that back take. You know, Ton just knows everything that's going to happen on that back pressure, and the window repels from UNCC aren't nearly as effective as they need to be. I almost wonder if maybe they're hesitant to repel top square because they realize, okay, lobby, you know, we don't really have a lot of pressure on this area, and somebody could just peek from those lobby windows and shoot me if I'm on the square repel. At the same time, you're losing 2 or 3 bodies to that elbow Jaeger every single round on the top floor. I think you're going to have to kind of take the risk eventually because you're not winning out that top floor with the Jaeger just swinging so freely.
UNCC has corrected a lot of their mistakes so far, particularly the last time that we saw this bomb site back down in the basement. It was actually a brilliant attack for them. They used their utility perfectly, and it seems like they've kind of remembered their success because they're bringing out very similar operators. They're dropping their ace in favor of the Capitao. It's going to be a perfect read because, like we talked about earlier, Capitao has the ability to bring out pocket thermite charges, so you can kind of flex away from an additional hard breacher. You're still forced to bring out your thermite, but you have some fun, and you also have technically 2 smokes. One, the traditional grenade, and the other one, those smoke bolts, the crossbow bolts, and you also the fire bolts, so maybe you can burn away Goat people as they're going to take, once again, a very aggressive stance, probably over by the not secret stairs, the blue stairs with Angel.
A lot of people call Capitao a really niche operator, and it's sort of correct, but I kind of like Capitao. You know, the way that he operates, he's got 2 very unique abilities about him. You know, the secondary utility with the hard breaching canopers, but also bringing in the asphyxiating bolts as well, the smoke bolts. You can kind of almost use Capitao as sort of your offensive multi-tool. And Chief, it brings me back to the way that Ace used to play. Remember when Ace launched, he had those overpowered Selmas. They could open, 3 sections at a time. He also had smokes. He also had the AK-12. He could frag, he could breach, he could do plant denial.
And the AK-12 has been nerfed, too, since then. So when he came out, he had OP AK-12. And ACOG, too. That was before the scope changes. Nonetheless, though, did you notice who else was brought out? IQ. It seems like UNCC is kind of running the roulette wheel of treats. We saw the Great Repel earlier. Yeti just saw Ton, didn't take the shot, but he's going to save Ton. He's going to let Ton kind of, just sit back there, ferment for a bit before they elect to take the aggressive gunfight there because they're more focused over on the security side.
We have another opportunity to take a look and analyze this blue hole. Angel has swapped operators. I wanted to mention that UNCC have been rotating and have been making adaptations in a couple different senses there. The Ying, most notably on their second attempt at the basement. Now, as you say, IQ, we've got Capitao there as well. UTSA realized those Candelas were a trouble last round. Let's pick the one operator that can see through the Candelas. We have the Warden. We have the ability to stare on right through any flashbangs that should come down into that blue staircase.
I think we just heard something detonate. It was a smoke grenade, and oh, what a brilliant angle. Angel couldn't see. The glasses were active, but since they were swinging, they were temporarily disabled in the smoke, or you couldn't be able to see through the smoke, the thermal component of it. That was just a game sense read there from Angel. They seem to have mastered the stance on the stairwell. They find an additional kill with their shotgun. And UTSA's defense is looking brilliant right now, especially since Angel is still in the fixed position. They end up losing their life. TB will secure that kill, but they're the last one left for the roster. They're low HP after the altercation with that shotgun, and well, now you have no grenades, and you're just going to have to take heads-up gunfights, plus with the smoke still percolating throughout the server portion, and one more still in pocket. TB's clutch is almost confirmed that it's not going to be taking place, and there it is, the confirmation that it was a valiant attempt, but actually not a victory for UNCC.
Good cleanup from UNCC through the mid-phase there of that first half, but ultimately, it'll be Texas San Antonio that do string together to a piece at the start and at the finish of our initial split there. And so they will take 4 on the defensive look. We'll get them now on the attack as the sides do swap. And UNCC there, despite the fact that when they lost around, generally it was pretty decisive. There weren't a ton of really close, victories. Ultimately, the way that things shape out here is, I don't know, maybe if it was what you would expect it to be. The way that UTSA played in their defensive lineups, their strats are actually pretty good. And not all the time do we look at these collegiate strats and say, wow, that was like a crazy good strategy. Usually, defensive rounds won in Collegiate Siege are kind of up to individual players and how they win rounds. Don't get me wrong, Angel was an expert there on the blue staircase, but it was also the operator that they were put onto. It was the utility. It was the way that the rest of the UNCC members held.
And so far, Bank has just been a battle of adaptations. UNCC did an excellent job of adapting to the first iteration of the basement. They brought out the Ying. UTSA has made their adaptations, and I think that's going to be kind of the theme of today. Rosters making adaptations as defenders bring out different sets of utility. Now, UTSA is going to have the burden of executing and attacking upstairs for the first time for UNCC. It's going to be their long-range engagements, most likely. That's the beauty about CEO. You can open up lines of sight and force attacking teams into kind of awkward angles. We saw UTSA do that, and now they're going to be on the receiving end of it.
And Tun was really a fearsome player on this top floor. We'll look to him to see if he can do it across the side swap, or if he is more of just a defending one trick. All jokes aside, though, Tun on the early pressure from outside stock, and he's got the nades to put forward against what is a slight hold just beyond that double door near Soda. UNCC holding on so long, and UTSA not really trying to push the issue into many different areas. We've had entirely back takes so far when we're talking about the CEO objective. No team ready to broach the conversation about pressure on that main lobby side.
Messiah finds the first kill once again. They have been the opening threat constantly to UNCC, and it's very likely they're going to find an additional kill because Valkyrie's aggressive to the other side of the wall. TB is going to see the grenade threat indicator, and they're just going to fall away slightly, but it hasn't deterred them being aggressive around the doorframe, because why would they fall away? You have a mute chamber denying the Selma charge from detonating and opening up, and since drones really haven't been pushed, it's just been kind of wasted bits of utility. TB is going to continue to fight.
And they really need to get past this deployable shield. It's only just the next thing kind of on your mind here. Angel working, some pressure. The Jaeger might have him. It's actually Link who does get rid of Angel there, so you've lost out on your 0, and the trade is had. UTSA, are they going to be slowed down by this? It looks potential. With the way that they played so far and the fact that this Valkyrie has not been gotten rid of from just outside that stock door, it's slowed down UTSA to a veritable crawl, despite the fact they still have utility. In come the smokes for the burn, the grenade on the follow-up as well. Doesn't look like that frag has moved on through yet. Finally, it comes, and the deployable is gone, but TB still holding firm here. Careful you don't run out of ammunition. The nitro cell will go over. It downs Tun, and so TB resorting to the pistol, looks for the confirm, but they've fallen through the hatch. Somehow Yeti's still able to provide the assistance there, though.
Messiah dropped, and there's nobody anywhere near from UTSA, so I think they're just going to be DB&O and force Goat to go for the clutch. Goat makes a drop, so now you brought your teammate back up to 20 HP, though. Fortunately, though, for UTSA, you do have 2 players on the side of UNCC that are low HP, but Father Time is about to shake his head, say, uh-oh, there's no time for you guys. You're going to have to start to storm up and through square, try to find kills, and I don't think UNCC is going to present themselves at all. The diffuser most certainly won't go down, and the crossfires to deny entry into the bomb site itself will be too much for UTSA.
Single Valkyrie with the P shooter and a deployable shield able to pretty much stop up the pressure there from the Roadrunners, and it took them way too long to clear. I don't know what the holdup was to get those grenades in on that position. Yeah, you have the ADSs, right, but it just was UTSA being hesitant about the burn or something. I'm not really too certain.
They couldn't cycle the burn, so they would burn, and then the ADSs would grab the nades, then they'd have to have somebody else burn, and then the nades weren't there, and then they'd have to they kept repeating that process over and over again, but they would always burn, the nades weren't there, and then the nades would die to the ADSs because they reset. You know, this has been a talking point that people, I think, forgot about when the Jaeger reworked happened. At one time, Jaeger could only destroy 2 projectiles, right? Now, in theory, if you can have them reset, you could burn every ounce of attacker utility. And that was kind of demonstrated by UNCC. Bad utility consumption by UTSA results in multiple sets of nades lost to 2 ADSs.
And that's the thing. You are kind of reliant on your opponent to make the mistake there in the clear. And just the thing is as simple as not being able to coordinate and work together in tandem. It's kind of a strange situation that happened there over by Stock. One that hopefully on the repeat attempt, UTSA will fix in a future execution. A Castle Rome being deployed with the Mozzie and the Vigil is well here to come into round number 8 as UNCC will try to play spread across the map and not simply turtle on the bomb site like we saw from the majority of the Roadrunners' defenses.
So Castle's going to prevent an entry into open. And I wonder if UTSA is going to say, hey, wow, look at this extended roam. I'm going to do basically the same attack that UNCC did and execute in through Dirt Tunnel and in through Server. But nope, I actually think UTSA is going to deal with the map clear. To be fair, you do have a sludge in play, so you can kind of remove most of the castle barricades for free. You just have to be very mindful of when you go into open area, because there are foot level holes from kitchen. So if you vault in, TB is going to be very much aware of that and can shoot you probably before you can shoot them.
This drone should be helpful in this clear as well, having the knowledge to know, okay, this is where the castle is at, and I should be able to react off the back of that as well. Down goes the castle. Looked like he tried to reinforce the hatch. I'm not really certain what that call was all about, but your castle's gone. And for as much utility has been dedicated to this roam, it hasn't stopped up UTSA, and it hasn't put a stop to what has been a 100% opening kill rate for the Roadrunners this map.
It's been nothing but Angel and Messiah on the opening kills. 2 players, and all from one team. And they have just found everything, every chink of armor that UNCC leaves available. But they're not out of the woods yet, Reese, because UNCC has one particular ace up their sleeves. Lone Office has a roamer in it right now. I believe it's a rogue, and, well, there they are. It's Kyle Pog, actually.
Oh, no.
But they potato, they whiff, and they still get away with the kill? Angel's been standing out as a player. I mean, they've found incredibly important kills. Probably the rare error from Angel so far today, but a kill that probably shouldn't have happened has happened, and UNCC equalizes the roster count.
Yeah, just assuming that Lone Office would be clear, unfortunately going to cost them 1, and it's going to be a kill that kind of forces UTSA back onto their haunches a little bit. How are they going to react now that they've lost that? First, here's the Mozzie trying to play from the top of the stairwell. Served a bit of damage, and Rogue will fall back off of it. In the meanwhile, Yeti catches damage. A DBNO from a stray frag grenade. UTSA forming up in preparation for the execute here. However, the one wrinkle could still be those Echo Yokai drones. Messiah will drop deep, and he might just sort of send it in here. In fact, he will. He gets both of them. The Confirm and the Mozzie as well. The plant coming down from the Thermite, and the Yokai drones, they simply won't be enough to stop the plant in these circumstances. The Echo has to get up and start to fight, and Ton still on the hunt. Again, though, the EMP grenades will come through as a means to stop out those Yokais, and the Thermite should have no problems in completing this plant. The Echo finally realized he can't play for his util here. Will have to get off of that and sort of make up his own effort in the 1-on-3.
UNCC paved the way for Link to potentially be successful. They have lots of head-level holes to identify where members of UTSA might be playing, but they also have to be mindful the 2 hatches already opened up by UTSA. Link finds 1, but there's the hatch pressure from above, and the valiant effort is stopped. UTSA has a strong offense, and honestly, their utility usage, particularly the EMPs, to deny the Echo drones, were impeccable.
And that's one thing you kind of forget about when you have that, the idea of you call it the mirror fallacy, but when it's applied to the Thatcher, right? When you've not played a lot of Siege with Thatcher and you introduce an operator like Echo, when I'm playing Echo, I'm not thinking about EMP grenades. I'm just not. I'm more thinking about maybe IQ being brought. That's kind of the more direct comparison that you usually get. The EMPs are just so helpful in that circumstance there. It wasn't all up to the planter in that conversation, though, as well. Let's say there is some plaudits to be given to the Sledge for realizing, hey, I'm just going to go deep. I'm just going to vault this rotate, run right into gold where I know I've got a player TBN node, and I'm going to try for that kill. And it puts Ton onto 14 kills. He has just been on a murder streak so far, has not been shut down once, has not found himself as the victim of the opening death. UTSA are on top of the early game right now.
Open area. This is interesting from UNCC. They lost basement. They had the ability to go back there, not upstairs in CEO, since it's still locked for a remainder for one more round. And honestly, I'm eager to see how UNCC is going to play this, because we've seen this bomb site brought out once by UTSA, and UTSA had a strong initial defense because Messiah found early kills. UNCC's vertical was just too much to ask for. And we look at the side of UTSA, it looks like they have almost an identical setup, but they're just going to go Russian. They're already in the bomb site, my friend. They have information from the beings of the Lion, and they're just going to go for the plant. UNCC finds 2 TB. It's the player dishing out that damage, and it's just one player left. A 1v3. It's all gone wrong. Where did this round go?
Well, that is the risk that you do inherently get with the rush. You come in against Defender, Utility, and you die to Defender guns there. UNCC will shut down the quick attempt for UNCC. The way that they played that was excellent. Just holding all the different Defender angles, coming back on the site, not being overwhelmed. I think maybe for UTSA, they kind of should have gone a little deeper. Should have tried to clear out that pressure inside of small office, because the castle there was ultimately such a menace. And that's the thing that you do get sometimes when you come in on that rush. For the UTSA side, you're kind of worried about, do I need to get this plant down? Do I need to make it guaranteed? I would say for open area, not really, because there are so many different ways for the defenders to come back on you that you need absolute control of the site. If you're worried about an anchor that's still on the site shooting back at you, as well as the rest of the roam that was kind of flanking around, it's not going to work. The execute ultimately comes up short there, and UTSA fail on the opportunity to get a little bit of a cheap shot onto match point.
Back to CEO. And did they do this last round, Reese? Did they open up 3 panels? Do you notice in the quad walls of Square that 3 of the panels are open?
I think they did the same thing last time.
I know for a fact that the south panels, the 2 south panels were open. I don't remember the north panel being opened up. Well, this certainly shows why UTSA struggled on their push in through Square. Because how do you push in through Square if you have those holes? In theory, there are so many places that you can be challenged from. Close on the bomb site, deep in the bomb site from Banana. I mean, there are so many spots where UNCC can spring up from cover and take a gunfight and then hide, that you can see why UTSA prioritized just pushing stock trading, and it was to their detriment last time. And honestly, UTSA needs to do something different, and the difference is going to be pushing in from the west. That's going to be from Banana, and look what's happening. Angel is pushing in from the west, and Rogue will find the first opening kill for UNCC. It took 10 rounds. They finally did that, and look who falls. Ton, the player finding all the opening kills so far.
Half of your nade power gone there as well, and we already discussed in the previous round that it was quite a substantial issue trying to clear out that Valkyrie. Rogue gets a little too aggressive there, probably should have just taken his pick and ran with it instead of aggroing forward, and here we'll have the EMP grenades used to clear out both the ADS as well as attempt to go and open the wall. However, a grenade from the offense will just blow up the yard-breaching utility. I guess you could say Stridon makes up for it, though, as he does trade back onto TB, and they've gotten rid of this Valkyrie player a lot quicker than last time around.
A nice change up for UTSA. They now own stock trading and they have the flexibility of pushing in through different portions of the map. Angel still the flank from Banana, and Kyle Pog was completely given away from the already established Sam Cams. And now Lynx realizes we have to deal with a two-front attack. The backside is going to be kind of the detriment right now. And sure, you just lost Angel, but now UTSA can start to flood into the site, use their 3 roster advantage to just pressure Link, and Link wasn't even prepared for the gunfight. They end up just falling, and that's match point for UTSA.
Well, things have gone fairly back and forth so far, but I feel like for the most part, Texas San Antonio have been in the lead and have been the ones who are dictating the way that the game is played. Majority of the time, that just has come down to the fact that they have been the entry leaders by a wide margin, and UNCC are a little bit lacking in that category. You have to think for that previous round, what would have happened if Rogue just took that pick that he made happen inside of stock and not tried to press it for a second? Because you allow UTSA to trade, it makes me draw the comparison to earlier in the half. Remember when it was on CEO for that first time, Untun was just killing player after player. He was not ever traded out by the UNCC offense. And because of that, they had just no luck on the top floor. UTSA there, they get the trade, they had guns up, and unfortunately, it will cost the Niners their top floor attempt.
You know, we've been talking about the Tun Messiah show, but Tun was the opening death. Tun had 0 impact in the round other than their body falling on the floor and the loss of utility. And we always say, oh, Tun's the best player, Tun's top 5 gun goal burr player in Collegiate, but I think UTSA, the 4 players who are left alive, deserve some praise there because they came together as a roster, and they, I think, could have proven a lot of people wrong saying that, oh, it's only Tun. Now, that being said, UTSA on match point, they're going downstairs to the basement. The last time that we saw this, Reese, it was a slaughter. UNCC tried to go for a very complex roam, got shut down by UTSA because TB put themselves in a bad position, and now they have to be very wary because the castle barricades have already been dealt with almost instantaneously, and they're going to have to decide if they want to stay in open area or fall back early.
You know, Siege is a very complex game, and so we don't really like to whittle it down to, 1 or 2 things that have gone wrong and why a round was as it were.
Wow.
But ignoring the incredibly aggressive nature of Rogue trying to challenge against the square door, last round, UTSA had a drone in open area the whole time. So they just had free intel to know exactly what was going on there. When TB tried to reinforce the hatch, he might have thought he was safe, but UTSA knew, okay, that was your moment of opportunity because the castle wasn't watching the footholds. He was distracted trying to reinforce the hatch. They came in against him, and they moved with a ferocity. Now the UTSA, again, have led that entry, and Rogue was playing so solo, nobody could trade him.
Drones gathering information, allowing UTSA to start to draw a map of what UNCC's defense looks like. UNCC still has some type of information. It's probably an echo cam somewhere on the top floor trying to give information to UNCC about the breaching that's taking place through those red hatches, but that's only part of the story, Reese. The other part of the story for UTSA is the fact that they're opening up other hatches, open area. They're going to do a sprawled out attack. They're going to open up every hatch and keep UNCC on their toes, and with an additional death, Kyle Pog losing their life, and the same thing now said for TB, UNCC is going to have to really fight hard if they want to win their map choice and start with Yeti's Roam. Good for one, good for an additional with the shotgun. They get hightailed out of there. Their counter roam has done exactly what was needed, finding 2 critical kills, but UTSA still has a man advantage. No longer a 2v5, a 2v3, but UTSA not as strong as they once were.
And the Roadrunners are forced to hold their horses for just a minute as their man advantage has started to kind of shrink back. Their execute power right now lacking the frag grenades that they used ultimately to claim victory. The initial time they attack down here on this bottom floor objective, the Therm will begin to try to bait out some of that utility. It's unsuccessful. Link is not on his yokai drones right now, and he's not going to have the possibility to deny that, and so Yeti forces swing. He can't shoot the backpack. He runs out of ammo. He will get the Therm, but down in the meanwhile by Matcha. She will quickly escape up to the top of the stairs, and it leaves Link in a 1 versus 2 to decide what'll happen, to continue fighting on to the final round of regulation or a quick Roadrunner pickup here on the first map. It's the latter of those 2 options. UTSA at a 7-4 come into Bank, come into the Niners map pick with authority, and will close it out at a quickness.
Honestly, UTSA looked like a well put together roster, Reese. Everything they did was excellent. They were constantly adapting their defense to UNCC. If a Ying was brought out downstairs in the basement, well, they'd be like, okay, we're just going to bring a warden. All of a sudden, UNCC's ace up their sleeve is completely underdone by the warden. And more importantly, sure, Ton dropped 16 kills, but did you notice 3 other players, Angel, Matcha, were very close to hitting double digits as well. It looked like everybody from UTSA was adaptable and they all had the ability to click heads. Plus, once you start to incorporate the fact that UNCC found 1 opening kill, you can see why that was a 7-4.
Yeah, the number of UNCC opening kills was around the same number of the amount of times they would trade back when they had that entry death, and I think that was kind of the largest issue there. Could not keep in control of that early game on a map like Bank. When you fall back from that early pressure, things do start to get a little chaotic towards the end. We saw it there in the final round, despite a good effort from the defense, coming back with that shotgun to strike into 2. It wasn't enough ultimately, and things do collapse at the end there. So we look on to Villa, the Roan Runners map pick. Will North Carolina Charlotte be able to keep up with the trade game? Let's answer that after we come back from the break.